Hey guys, welcome back to another AFL tipping video. In this one we're going to run through quickly my tips for the AFL Round 3 2023. As you can see, last week I actually got 6 out of 9, which isn't too bad. But unfortunately, the week before that I got 3, so my total score is only 9. Pretty terrible. Anyway, we're going to run through them quickly and have a look. So, Thursday night, tomorrow night, it's going to be great. I reckon Western Bulldogs have been very disappointing. Brisbane Lions away from home, they do travel a lot. I think Brisbane Lions by about 12 in a pretty low scoring game, I think. Next is Collingwood versus Richmond. This is going to be an awesome Friday night game. I think Collingwood are just way too good of a team. I think they'll win very comfortably against Richmond. The next one is quite interesting. Hawks versus North Melbourne. Who knows? This could go either way, being a University of Tasmania game. I think North have a lot more upside than Hawthorn. Hawthorn, I don't know. They haven't been performing well. I know they do have probably an obviously very young side, but I think Hawthorn can put up some good scores, some good games, but they're just not doing it at the moment. And as in Tasmania, it's going to get quite cold and typically windy. I think it's going to be a pretty terrible game to watch, but I think we just have to go with the flow. We have to go North Melbourne for this one. Now, this one here, the Giant Stadium, it's probably their best ground, obviously, being a home game for them. But Carlton are looking pretty good so far this year. They had the draw, then the win. I think Carlton get up. So far, it's favourites. And you can't go against St Kilda at the moment. I mean, I've tipped against them 2 weeks in a row, and I've got both those tips incorrect. Essendon, they can be a bit surprising. They've also won their last 2 games as well. And I really don't know which way this could go. It could be either way. I think St Kilda will get the job done. I think it's just a case of by how many. It will be a close game. I think Essendon definitely can do it. But I think the way St Kilda are playing footy under Ross Lyon is just awesome. Adelaide Oval, the showdown. This is going to be great. Port Adelaide are going to be wearing prison bars, I think, which will be very good. Adelaide have put up some pretty good footy. They just haven't been able to get the job done, although against probably a very weak side in GWS and then a Richmond side at home. Couldn't get the job done. I think the Adelaide Crows are obviously going to be pretty low on the ladder at the end of the year. Port Adelaide are pushing for a top 8 spot. I think here, if Port want to be a solid chance at making the 8 this year, I think they have to win. So I think Port win again. This one here, Gold Coast versus Geelong. I don't know the stats. I'm sure someone will be able to correct me here, but from memory, I think Geelong don't play very well up here. But they've lost their last 2, the reigning premiers. If they go 0-3 here against Gold Coast, it might be too early to call, but I think their year will be pretty close to over. So I think Geelong have to win this one against a very weak Gold Coast side. I think Geelong have no other option, but they need to win here. Melbourne have been a bit disappointing. Sydney Swans obviously beaten up on a pretty soft side last week, but I think the Swans will win. This is probably the only roughie I'll really take. Sydney Swans, I think they're a solid team. Melbourne are also a solid team, but no Brodie Grundy. They've only got, no Max Gawn. They've only got Brodie Grundy in the ruck. While the Sydney Swans do have Laddams, they're probably not as dominant as prime Grundy, but I just haven't been impressed by Grundy so far. I think the Sydney Swans definitely have the capacity and the team to be a top 4 side. I think they will be able to go over to Melbourne and beat Melbourne at their home ground. And the other showdown, the derby, whatever you want to say it. Man, what do we say about this game? Freo 0-2. West Coast Eagles are 1-1. I tipped West Coast Eagles. That was probably a pretty big risk last week against arguably a soft side in GWS, but I think Fremantle will do it. They have a lot better side, in my opinion. They're just definitely not playing the way they should be. I actually had them in the top 8, possibly even pushing for top 4. Their performance of the last 2 weeks, There is no way they're even making 8 with that. So I think Longmuir's going to change the names around the board, and I think we might see a little bit different. Luke Jackson might go back to defense, or yeah, not sure, might play as a full forward, who knows. But I think Fremantle win pretty comfortably here as well. So they are my footy tips for this week. And now quickly, my fantasy team, another really terrible week, 1731. It is slightly better than last week, but I did drop in my ranking in my own competition. Not good. I'm going to hopefully do a lot better this week. Fingers crossed. I've made my 2 trades. I've put Caleb Daniel in, taken Sam Taylor out, put Will Day in, and Darcy Byrne-Jones out. I wanted a couple players who sometimes take a kick in. Caleb Daniel definitely does. And hopefully that'll help with a little bit of scoring on the defensive side. Braden Maynard was a big time cost to me, lost 27,000, and I think Hayden Young as well cost me a fair bit. So overall, a lot of work to do on my team. Once I fix my defense, I'll start to look at my offense, which is the other part which is sort of lacking. Anyway, thanks for watching the video. I'll see you next time.